Hello. Help me out a bit here, because I'm struggling with a bit of labour logic, and I've been trying to ask the dog for help and explain it to her, and she's fallen asleep. Pixie she's 10, actually. She's seen too much. She's like, you can forget it. So, we don't want kids to have birthday cakes in school because it's unhealthy. But the breakfast clubs that we're rolling out for kids that don't need them, that's healthy how? So we're giving children 2 breakfasts, but we're trying to tackle obesity. We are giving them jam on toast and sugary cereals, but we're trying to tackle obesity and sugar. But we're banning, or we don't want, birthday cakes in schools because they're unhealthy. We can take fruit platters. We're not recognising fructose sugar and teeth and, those silly little things called fillings. So we're not really working hand in hand with each other, are we? And then we've got the tax thing. So we're taxing the wealthy who are leaving the country. So by taxing them so much money, they're off. So we're not getting anything. And many of them have businesses. And so they're closing their businesses and taking their business elsewhere. We're taxing education. So we've added VAT on education. And so now the independent schools are opening in countries like Italy, well, all over Europe, really, Saudi, the UAE, anywhere in the world that doesn't tax education. So people that were using the education system in the UK now can't. And the people that were sending their children to the UK for the education system that we've been famed for are now sending them to places like Italy to get an English education. Anyone? I mean, it's bonkers. So we've then got child poverty. Bridget Phillipson is saying that she wants to bring children out of child poverty. Completely agree. Absolutely. I'm with you there, Bridge. Ed Miliband, with his net zero, is forcing the closure of many of the oil refineries in the UK that employ many families. And there was an interview on GB News with an MP for Pembrokeshire who was saying that it's Pembrokeshire's biggest employer, and there's already 30% child poverty in Pembrokeshire. And by doing what Ed Miliband is doing, there is no transition. So these people who are skilled workers in oil refineries will not be able to get a job in net zero. The oil refineries are moving out to Pakistan and the workers aren't. They're in Pembrokeshire. So already we have 30% child poverty there, and now we're taking away the income source for the parents. I mean, it's not joined up. It's not remotely joined up. And yet we're giving these headlines where each independent minister is giving these headlines out saying how they're going to save the world effectively. I mean, they put their superhero capes on and they fly around doing all of their media rounds. I am great, I am God, I am Ed Miliband. I mean, holy shit. Sorry, Mummy Miliband, I'm sure you're proud, but God alive, we're not. And they go and make these radical claims, and the reality of us, like the people, I mean, it's miles away. I mean, it's like the moon and back. It's no wonder the dog can't keep up. It's just, there's no logic. I mean, my son always says it's like arguing with insanity. And it is. There's no... It's like... They've spent the past 14 years blaming the Tories for absolutely everything, some of it justified. And they've said, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do this. Then they get into power and it's like they've just dispersed and they've all got their own, like if you go on a holiday with a group of people and you rent a holiday house and there's loads of different bedrooms and you get there and everyone runs off to get the best bedroom, particularly the kids, and there's a bit of fisticuffs over I wanted this one and that one's got a bigger bed and that one's got a wardrobe and I need a full length mirror and all of that, and you sort of have the big, you know, let's pull straws out the hat, all of that kind of jazz, and everyone gets their own bedroom and then they go in it. And it's new and exciting, so they hide in it and they make all of their plans about what they want to do on holiday. And then everyone meets for dinner again and they go, right, well, tomorrow I want to go crabbing. Well, tomorrow I want to go to the lifeboat museum. Well, tomorrow I want to go to the beach. Well, tomorrow I want to go anywhere that you lot aren't. That kind of thing. Nobody agrees. Everyone goes off in a huff, and that was that. It feels like that's happened when Labour have come into power and they've all gone to their own little offices in Westminster going, yay, finally we're in. What do? What? Don't remind me why we're here. And then so they make it up on the job, and then they don't speak to that one 3 doors down who actually will be seriously impacted by what they've done. And they don't speak to that one 4 doors up who is doing something that directly opposes what they're doing. And they just go, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm in my own room. I'm in Westminster. Yay, I did it, Mum. First thing I'm going to do is write on my embossed paper to my mum from my Westminster postcode telling her how great I've done. No, you haven't. Save the stamp. You don't need to do that. We all know it's a joke. And the more this stuff unravels, you know... And politicians have a really good way of talking to us as though we're really stupid. And they go so deep into things. And by deep into things, they go into sort of like, well, this policy says we can't do this and we must legislate against that. And we must do this. And well, is that going to take kids out of poverty in Pembrokeshire? Is a small print going to do that? Or is just the act of moving the refineries to Pakistan going to do that? I mean, we don't need to deep it that much, do we? Cause, effect. If we tax education because we want to level up, but we're going to say it's so that we can put money into the state system, and then the independent sector moves to Europe or the Far East, and people don't come into our country for an education, we don't need to hear the High Court turn around and say, well, legally they can do it, morally they can't. We can see cause, effect. But yet they can't. They can't see cause and effect. You know, it's really bloody simple. And yet we've overcomplicated it, massively overcomplicated it. And we've got lost in our own sense of importance. And I say we, I don't mean we, do I? I don't mean you and me. I certainly have not got lost in my own sense of importance because I know I have none. But they have got so lost in their own sense of importance and what they think. And, you know, that it's, I'm all right, Jack. I mean, the pensions thing. So if you're a pensioner and having your pension taxed, that absolutely fucking sucks. Sorry, Mum. But if you're Keir Starmer, you're not having yours taxed. No, yours is safe because you've got a law protecting yours, yet you want to connect with the British public. We're all going to be pensioners. In the same way that we were all toddlers, we're all going to be pensioners. Well, we hope we are. And Keir Starmer has protected his. He's all right. Now, he could overrule that. He could, he's a lawyer, he'll know all the smart fancy words that he needs to use. And as I've always said, the law is an obnoxious use of the English language. I nicked that from Jacob Rees-Mogg, but exactly, he just said it more eloquently from what I was saying. I love a Rees-Mogg eloquence. Don't necessarily love everything else he says, but that one was a goodie. But Keir Starmer could retract that. So he could pay tax on his pension. I don't see him doing that, do you? No, because it's one rule for him and one rule for us. And I can't, that's not right. Nothing in that makes this okay. In fact, everything in that makes this so wrong. But there we have it. That's the country that we live in today. I did see something on Twitter the other day that said their word on the street is they could be out by next summer. Now, word on the street is they're going to be out tomorrow. I mean, do you remember when it was all going really tits up for Rachel Reeves and she'd written her resignation letter according to the moles in Westminster, but that resignation letter either never got given to Keir Starmer or it did get given and he refused it, but he just didn't bother to tell us. So word on the street is always often spurious. But it did give me a bit of cheer that they might be out by next summer, because whilst the rest of us may not know who we want to vote for yet, we might not know who is the best of the rest yet. I think the collective is now very much, we don't want these ones. And it doesn't matter who your deputy is. And if there's a leadership campaign, none of that makes any difference. The British public doesn't want Labour. I mean, I'm wearing red. This is not a subliminal. Red to me is, I mean, I do love it because it's a bit Christmassy. That's what red means to me. But for a lot of people, red means danger. There you go, make of that what you will. So here endeth that little musing. Thanks for bearing with me. By the way, the flowers, somebody noticed the other day. It's embarrassing. So they are obviously hyacinths, which somebody bought me. They were white. And you can actually see a bit of the dead leaf. But they just, not hyacinths, hydrangeas. But they've just dried. And I haven't got the heart to take them out because I think they look quite nice. And it's cheaper than, because I love flowers. I really do love flowers. They are my small joy. I grow dahlias in the garden like there is no tomorrow, so that I can have dahlias and lavender. I put a bit of salvia in, a bit of the fuchsia in, and it's just the nicest little flower arrangement. And it makes me happy. It's the little things in life. So I love flowers, but I can't afford them. I mean, who can really afford them anymore? They're £4.49 in Aldi for a little sort of spray of lilies, which is the best I've found as yet. But you know, when you're going around with your shopping trolley and you see them and you go, yeah, it's £4.49 though, and that's like eggs and bread. So that'll keep the protein teenager. Well, actually, you won't have the bread because he's off carbs at the minute, but the eggs will, if I get sort of 12 eggs and then, well, I can't even get a box of cereal to go with that for £4.49. But you know what I mean? It could be better spent. So I find it very hard to justify the money on the flowers unless I've grown them myself. So they are the gift that keeps on giving, but I am going to get rid of the dead leaf because I hadn't realised quite how much you could see it. God, I ramble on, don't I? Getting to the point is, I will one day, I promise, it will be succinct. Oh, and somebody else said the other day, final note, that I should say, please like, subscribe and share at the end of the video. Well, yes, that is good, but that's assuming that people have been able to bear with me and get to the end. And a lot of people see the first ads and then go, I can't listen to her anymore. She's got some good points, but my God, does she go around the houses explaining them? So yeah, I mean, look, even the dog's asleep. Honey Pixie, yes, oh good girl. Enough. Goodbye.